Good evening and welcome to the November 17th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome. We have no public hearing tonight. Any announcements from the board?
No.
Sensing none. Additions, deletions to the agenda?
Not for me, sir.
All right. We have no appointments. Any public comment? Correspondence. We do have the monthly motor vehicle report. Anybody cares to take a gander at that? It's available. Reports and staff initiatives, Selectmen's report. Dana, or anything?
No, sir.
Dave?
The only thing I want to comment again on is I'm asking again for people to look at their 911 numbers on their houses. Just take a peek at that before snow flies, if you could, and get those numbers up where they belong appropriately. Please.
Okay. Anything else, Dave?
No.
Gordon, anything?
Yeah, on behalf of the members of the board, as is customary in the past, I'd like to extend our sincere condolences to Selectman Chabet and his entire family on the passing of his mother. She's a long-time resident of Waterboro, and when someone passes away, it's always a traumatic event, but it's particularly more so at this time of year or around the holidays. So our condolences.
Thank you.
Anything else, Gordon?
No, that's all I have.
I have nothing, so I'm going to defer to Gary.
Okay, quite a few things on the sheet here. Tonight I combined, since we didn't have much on the agenda, I combined my report with, let's say, a 33% report at the end of the fiscal year, which is the end of October. But going down through the report here, obviously we got some rain this Sunday, so that those few extra inches on Little Ossipee Lake are going to come down much slowly over the next few days. We're looking for another, I think, probably 2.5 to 3.5 inches of the lake supposed to come down to 36-inch level. In terms of code enforcement and planning board, there's a third solar array project that is going to be submitted to the planning board perhaps sometime in December. The applicant's working on a number of issues. They've met with staff, and I wanted to show the property to both the selectmen and the folks at home, because we're looking for some information that may not exist, but we're wondering about McLucas Road down here on the eastern end, and when that might have been approved as a town road, if it ever was, at a town meeting. So if anybody's listening to this and they can tell me which town meeting they might have been witness to that would be helpful to know. But this is the piece right here where the third solar array is scheduled to be entertained by the planning board, just so folks know. A little bit more information on the post-election, and you got some of this before, but I want folks to know that there were over 300 people that were registered to vote at the polls on November 3rd. And our status as of right now is Republicans are 2,063, unenrolleds are 1,945, Democrats are 1,638, and Green Party is 322. Got a total of 5,980 registered voters, or an increase of 655 since the June 2019 election. Our town census in 2010, our population census was 7,693, and it won't surprise me if we're in the mid 8,000s when the 2020 census comes out. We talked over the last several weeks about using a hiring service for listings for jobs. I had two conversations so far with jobsinme.com. They seem to be a little cheaper than Indeed might be. Indeed, you charge after every hiring is done. I'm leaning towards jobsinme.com for a one-time fee for unlimited listings. Couple things with equipment. We told you before, the loader backhoe for the transfer station is down for upwards to a month, so we rented another machine, which is, you picked it up yesterday, right?
No, not yet.
Oh,
They weren't able to go get it.
okay. So we'll get it this week?
That's the plan.
Okay. It is insured, and that will be with us for a while. We also had a service person here for the generator here at Town Hall. These lights were flickering like a light show on Sunday when the generator tested itself, and it's not a good situation. It's something that needs to be fixed as quickly as possible. So we may have to shut down Town Hall without power for a while, this week or next, for a few hours. And on to the expense and revenue summary reports that you have in front of you. What I've done is, if you pick the expense report, I green highlighted the areas that goes right down this. I kind of did this for you folks to take home, and you can spend some time looking at it if you want to, but very quickly, a third of the year behind us, and we're just about a third expended. Under the elections line on page 2, that top green highlighted area, we're probably going to go over this election line after the June election, if we do indeed have an election in June. We know that we have one extra election in there. There might not be enough money, but time will tell. To the bottom of page 2 there, under IT, Dave spends a lot of money for equipment and software in the first quarter, once he gets permission to do that, so his numbers are up to the mid 40% expense range. On page 3, we had a significant accident at Hannaford where the lights were pulled down, and our traffic lights account about a third of the way down there on page 3 are really overspent. We've submitted that to a claim for insurance. We're not sure how much of that we might get back, but we're going to try. Down in the tax assessor's office, still on page 3, the maps line, we've started to submit the changes on a quarterly basis. So our GIS and our tax maps can be changed on a quarterly basis, which will make them more up to date more regularly. And then we go over to page 6 on this report, under the transfer station. Everything between here and there is pretty routine in terms of numbers. I'm only talking about the significant ups or downs. The overtime line in the transfer station, if you've been down there on Saturdays and Sundays, you can understand why. There's a lot more overtime on Mondays and Tuesdays put in to make that place back into shape. We're going to have to find some more weekend help as soon as possible to help alleviate the Mount Trashmores that are down there, plus the other driver position that's still advertised. Over to page 7, a couple other things that kind of show people staying home more, doing more projects in and around their property. More demo debris, changing the oil more often, I guess, in their cars. Public Works toward the bottom of page 7. Sand and salt shed is pretty much full up and has been for quite a while, but that's ready to go for the winter. Over on to page 8, there's a line about 6 lines down, the building line. We poured a new floor in the old salt shed, and this line did not have some carry forward money that the previous Board of Selectmen approved to move over. We've discovered that the carry forwards were removed from last year, but they didn't get deposited into this year's. It's a SQL software issue that Julie's discovered, and we're going to work through it, so that's why this budget line in this building horizontal line, the budget column, I should say, is at 0, when I believe we had 10,000 in there, and that's why the Board of Selectmen funded 0 for this line, because we were taking it as a carry forward from the unspent line of the previous year. On the general assistance and overtime, that's a mistake that has since been corrected since this was printed out. That overtime should have gone to the election, so there is no overtime in the general assistance personal services line. And the only other thing over here, and we can blame on Levi because he's here tonight, is the York County taxes went up a great deal. We had budgeted 410 and they came in at 435,000, so that's the reason that line is overspent. But still, overall, we're right spot on at about a third of the year. So, moving over to the revenue side, it's even more telling that we're home. I really don't understand some of these, but excise tax is still way up. A revenue sharing and homestead reimbursement from the state is hanging right in there. In fact, there's more people on homestead now, as you can see. We had budgeted, estimated $300,000 revenue, we've got 389 already. So obviously, there's a lot more people on that than we had anticipated. Building permits down under code enforcement. We had budgeted $60,000 and he's already essentially met that, within $1,000 of it. I've been continually busy through this pandemic. The very bottom of page 1, the frontage revenue is down significantly, as we would expect when we were not open. And on page 2, the top 2 lines are significantly down between sports and summer camp. Moving down to the transfer station toward the middle of the page 2 in the revenue report, you can see those highlighted sections. We're busier, we're a bigger town, and people are doing more home projects, and I guess that's what shows in there. All those things are just up on the revenue side from people paying to have things deposited at the transfer station. And on the very bottom of this, which is a good thing, we had a very generous person donate $5,000 to the Christmas donation fund. And same thing with the fuel donations on the next page at the very end. Extremely generous and much appreciated. And I guess Secret Santa is going to happen again this year, and you can direct people to Nancy Johnson if anybody's interested in that. I don't know if Julie had anything else she wanted to add, but that's it from me, Mr. Chairman.
Anything, Julie?
All set, sir.
Okay.
Gary covered it.
And just quickly for David, I know sand and salt are up, but are we, is our snowplow contractor ready to rock and roll?
He says he is. I called him a couple of times to go over and inspect the trucks and so on, as what the contract asked for, and he hasn't been available, so I'm gonna try again tomorrow and see if I can get over there to the shop and look things over.
Okay.
Dennis, he did stop in a week or so ago to pick up a check, and we said that we would get together when the snow melts or thereabouts to see whether or not he's interested in options for years 4 and 5. He didn't want to give me an answer right now. I don't blame him. And so that's how we're going to leave it.
That's in his contract, right?
Right.
There's an option.
If both sides want, we can do 1-year extensions. This will be his 3rd winter, which is technically the end of the contract. But we have 2 more options if both sides want to do it.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments?
Have you looked into the possibility of going after the insurance carrier for whatever vehicle it was that took down the lights down by Hannaford's? Because if our insurance won't cover, we can go after his insurance.
I usually leave that up to the insurance companies to get that from the police report and go after them, but I would say absolutely, I would agree with you, yeah.
I just think that, the taxpayers shouldn't, be expected to absorb, that expenditure.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll get something out of it, I just don't know what the amount would be.
Yeah, and I would think that our insurance company will go after his insurance company.
Yeah, that's normal.
I got, if we could go back to the equipment update, what's the deal with the new truck?
We have a Ford price now, so we have the 3 prices, and we're going to get together and actually make that decision on which one we're going to purchase, so.
The 2 bids are very, very within a few dollars of each other. So it's gonna be a decision we'll have to make.
Okay, anything else? Any other questions, Dana?
No, almost, thanks.
Okay. So move on to new business. We're looking for possible candidates to dedicate the town report to, which will be out, well, typically we get them out in May, right? So, not that,
Laura has started gathering.
right, there's no urgency to this, but we would ask if anybody's got recommended names to bring them in. We'll keep this rolling on the old business side. And look at who we're going to dedicate to this year. Discuss vote to approve the gaming application for the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. I think we've got, from our contract deputy, Levi has got a report in here, as well as fire department and Glenn, no issues. So what is your pleasure on the Eagles gaming application?
Make a motion to approve the application for the Eagles.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the gaming application for the Fraternal Order of Eagles. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
4-0.
I jumped here a little bit. Levi's here tonight. Any questions relative to contract deputies or input or comments?
He just brought in the month of October for all deputies, all activity in Waterboro, and it's, I don't know, 20 pages. I'm gonna get that digitally, and he's gonna try and have that sent to me on a monthly basis?
Yes.
Is that right?
Okay.
And then I can send it to you. If anybody wants a hard copy, we can make them for you. But it's not just for our contract deputies, it's for all deputies in the town. And I also talked to him again, revisited whether or not we want to set up a schedule, because we had talked about having either he or Dwayne in, every 90 days or thereabouts, and maybe we should probably schedule that so it happens a little more regularly than in the past.
Yep. I would agree.
Perfect for Levi, because he's on second shift, not so perfect for Dwayne.
All right. Anything you want to add or ask or
No, sir.
any comments? Okay. I apologize for breezing on through this thing, but old business update on Ledgeview Lane road acceptance. I see we have Mr. Lewis with us this evening, and assuming Dave, you and he have spoken.
Yes. Spent close to 3 hours up there with Bruce. Walked up and down the hill and looked at all parts of the road and all the drainage and so on. I firmly believe that we need to do a coring of the road just to be certain, because it was never done when the road was built. It was inspected by Sebago, but it was never any coring was done on the pavement and the gravel. All the design plans were all verified in the field as test pits were not done, so other than that, they did verify a few other things. The sidewalks are in good shape. They're all 5 feet wide. They look like they're safe. There's not any cracks and broken pieces. The curbing is in good shape. It's a slope curbing, and it's seems to be doing a good job with the drainage because there's no washouts. The curbing is just on the side of the sidewalk On the other side, there's a 4-foot wide plus shoulder, and then it goes into a very well, large rocks so the water doesn't wash out the vegetation, and there's fabric under all the rock. I haven't seen the as-built, I'm not sure, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Angela to see if there are as-built in there from, as requested when the job was approved. I did talk to the fire chief about the cisterns. They were checked out when the project was first completed, and because it's not a town road, he didn't feel that he had the responsibility of checking them out until it is a town road a second time. Driveway culverts were good. Like I said, the ditch lines, the riprap is very good. Limit of drainage responsibility. I really think that the town needs, or someone, let it be Bruce or an engineering firm or someone, should verify the limits of the drainage systems. The drainage systems appear to be, I couldn't tell really if they go onto other people's property, but they do go out there quite a ways into the wetland. Homeowners Association has not been established yet.
So there's some issues that gotta be resolved, right?
Say again?
There's some issues that have to be resolved.
Yes, they're not major. They're not major at all. Some of the drainage ditches could be cleaned up, and there needs to be some trim work done on the back side of the sidewalks. Between the back side of the sidewalks and the property line, there's bushes, there's some saplings, there's some pine trees that are growing. That probably should be trimmed up before we accept it.
So if and when we vote to accept this, do the sidewalks come with the road?
There isn't an esplanade between the sidewalks and the edge of the road. The edge of the road is the edge of the sidewalk, and then they do come with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe, because they're all within the right-of-way. So if we take ownership of the right-of-way of that road, then,
Okay.
But
and I can tell you, I'm sorry, Gary.
the drainage structures, we will only assume responsibility for our part that's in the right of way. That's why the homeowners association is needed to maintain outside of that.
But in the conversation of the sidewalks, if we accept it, there's just no way that you could keep the sidewalk clear, because they're right at the edge of the travelway, so when they plow that road, those sidewalks are gonna have snowbanks on them unless you plow all the snow in one direction. And if you do that, then you're gonna be plowing uphill 2 lanes of road into the ditch line, and that could affect the drainage. So sidewalks, I think, would not be available in wintertime use.
Are they today?
Say again?
Are they today when you plow, or I'm not sure who plows a development today, but did they clean the sidewalks?
No. I let them go on, and there's a sidewalk there, but nobody cleared that one either.
So other than the homeowners association, which becomes a legal thing that you're gonna have to work out with the homeowners there, the big thing is the core testing to make sure that
And I feel that it should be done, yeah. It was something that was not done, and I feel that it should be done, just to be sure. And like I said, the back of the sidewalks where the small shrubs and growth, that needs to be
But
cleared up.
that doesn't seem to be a showstopper by any means, right?
Do you have an update, Bruce, on the homeowners association? Anything new?
Yeah, I met with the attorney yesterday, and he's working on that, and it doesn't take too long to get that ready. Just something I'd like to add on the drainage, the road maintenance agreement and drainage system. There's a requirement there that's in everybody's deed that they're basically on the hook for. They do have some responsibility right now for the road and the drainage, so it isn't like there isn't anything in place at the moment.
So it is in.
But it's a homeowners association, not the road maintenance agreement.
But you're saying it's in all their deeds?
Right, it's referenced in all the deeds.
Good.
So there's
That's
something in
good.
place now,
Yeah.
but it just isn't a homeowners association by name.
Right, but that helps the acceptance on their part. When they read their deed, they say, oh, I bought this when I bought my property, I have to do this.
Yeah,
And
well, there's a reference to it, but, you
That's
know,
helpful.
I would imagine probably like most people, that more interested in the property and how big the house is than
Right.
than the details.
Right, but I've been telling people for a few weeks since you and I spoke that please check your deed and tell me what it says.
Yeah.
And you've told me what it says now, so that's good.
So, as far as the cores, would I need to know, would you know how often to do that, or with like Gillespie, or would they do it? They'd be the ones to do it probably.
Okay, we'll get together and
Yeah, I was just wondering, I was looking this stuff over before I left, and I didn't know if like 15 years ago, if that, you know, during the inspection by the, well, it says the town's agent, would they wouldn't have done the core. Would they have just looked at it and gone by that, or, I'm not quite sure, but.
well, I haven't read the requirements from the planning board, and I'm not sure if it was in there. I don't think it was, but it's just something that I would recommend, just to be safe.
I guess I don't have any other update other than, you know, working on the homeowners.
So let's get that behind us, and if you can hook him up with somebody that can, you know, do the coring and
Yep.
and whatnot, then that puts that behind us. I think the rest of it is probably minor, right?
That's gonna be cold.
Yeah, Gillespie does it, I think, so.
Sebago Tech does it too, don't they? No?
What's that?
Sebago Tech, don't they do it too?
No, they use other people.
Yeah, I actually asked Owens McCullough at Sebago Tech, and he said, no, you gotta spend, they gotta do that, you gotta spend a few $1,000s to have them do the course, so.
Yeah.
Was hoping to not have to do that.
So would there be in town, David, any verification when they were building out this thing originally to the specifications in the planning board approved subdivision? Would there be any documentation from the then road commissioner, right?
No, it was Fred was there.
So was there any
document?
documentation that was inspected, or?
It was, I think that it said that all they found that he did look it over, and there was never any actual measurements.
Okay.
Yeah, all I have is, well, like on the, I left my paperwork at the house. The issue was the base, sub-base gravel, and was it the fine?
Yeah, they'll core the pavement in the gravel base below.
Right, yeah, but I think the gravel part was the sub-base.
Yes.
Because I've got, it wouldn't do you any good because it's like in the, just in the invoice, put 3 inches of
Right.
fine gravel, right, so that's,
Yep.
that wouldn't do you any good.
They did have tonnages reported from Dayton, which interpolated out into the proper amount of hot top for what was there for,
The real issue is the sub-base, right? I mean, there's
yeah.
the the base underneath the pavement. And the rest of the question is what's below that, right?
Correct.
So you gotta get it through everything to get there.
Right.
The only thing that I'd like to say about that is that you've been there now for how many years, Bruce?
15?
You've never had an issue?
No.
No breakups or anything
Like,
like that?
if you didn't have no
I don't
breakups,
know.
nothing then, why are we gonna have it now?
It's just something that we have asked for before on these new developments being, and it's something that the planning board usually asks for. But I only found one crack in the whole hill, so you're right in a
I mean,
way.
that's what I'm
but-
saying here, you know what I mean?
Yep.
If we're at the, usually if something's gonna happen, it's usually within the first, say, 5 years. Nothing has happened, so,
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had something from Sebago that said that, based on their review and everything else, it would appear that the appropriate base work was done and sub-bases and all that good stuff, because there was no breakup in the,
I think we had that from Ryan McCarthy, the guy that we hired to review this, so.
Okay.
It might have been something from Sebago before that, I don't recall. We hired an outside engineer to
so
give us.
I guess that would be the discussion point of whether or not we have him go out and spend a couple $1,000 to get it cored, if he can get it done for a couple $1,000 now, but, versus, based on this, the history of it, it would appear that the road hasn't deteriorated, right?
and a lot of that, I mean,
One would have to believe that it was built appropriately.
We can give you another, I don't know if Dave and Dana even saw that McCarthy report, I think so, but we can make that available and.
was that recently, Gary, that this was done? That was did the town hire this person?
Yes,
Okay, so,
yes. They gave a very detailed report on what it needs, so, I can get that to you and we can have that conversation on December 1st, I guess. And David should actually, chat with Ryan, the engineer. And then-
My guess is in 2 weeks, you're not gonna get somebody to come up here and core it, but I would think that that's gotta be,
I did call and leave a message to
right. So let's
see what Tom.
let's pull that out and
I'd like to take a look at that. if you
yeah,
can get
I
it
mean,
up.
I think there's gotta be a decision point on, from our perspective of, is there value in us having it cored?
Yep.
Based on the fact that it's been there for 15 years and it hasn't deteriorated and nor has anything collapsed and whatnot. So,
Well, David and Ryan, the engineer, can have that conversation. I mean, he talked about what he saw in the report as being in pretty good shape. And, collectively, the Board of Selectmen can listen to staff here and decide whether or not they want to make that a requirement.
Their report tells that all of the hot top quantities show the proper thickness for the whole sidewalks and the roads, and it's a really good report on that part of it.
Yeah.
was there any derogatory part of the road being in bad shape from this engineer?
Well, the planning board should have required a 75-foot radius on the cul-de-sac, and they let a 50-foot wide radius go, and that's not Bruce's fault. So I don't think we should make him rip the road up and
No.
mess up everybody's driveway. I mean, that's
There was a
not-
peer review on that too, by DeLuca Hoffman. And I don't know whether that, I didn't have a copy of the old ordinance. It might have been allowed under the cluster provision or something.
Was it a
like
peer
that.
review for the planning board during the review process?
Yeah, there was a,
Okay, so it's not post-construction then? so-
no, it was in the design part.
Okay.
So I think you gotta get the homeowners association or the road association or something behind you, and then we can go beyond that.
So we'll get that report to you folks.
Okay,
The core, would it be like half a dozen or something they would do for the,
I'd have to talk to them and see what they recommend and see.
When they were thinking about doing Susie Lane, David, they were talking about 2, 3 at the most.
Yep,
And this road's a little longer than that, but not much.
all right, thank you, Bruce. I guess you get your hands full to go get your the road association squared away, so,
yeah, it should be, if everything goes smoothly, that won't
Okay.
take long.
good.
Keep in touch.
Okay, thanks.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. All right,
right.
update on Bennett Hill property.
Okay.
Swap.
Today, Doug Jr. brought in the signed contract that Doug Sr. had signed. If you folks had seen, you have a copy in front of you there. That is a photocopy of the one that was signed. I also learned today that a little different information in terms of payment. Doug Sr., we had, at his request, we had said, as part of the approval here, that this payment would be done $10,000 over 10 years.
Yep,
That was not in the warrant article, it was in the explanation on the warrant article, and the voters on the actual ballot approved the $100,000 amount. It's important to know this. So Julie and I were talking today, and I've got something almost ready to fire off to Natalie. The voters have approved the $100,000 figure in total. It was not specified that it must be done $10,000 a year for 10 years. So I'm going to get Natalie's input on this, because on page 2, section 3.2, communicated with Doug today, and he told me that he would prefer a single payment for this. I'm hoping that the approval by the voters would be enough to appropriate and expend, and I think that's perfectly legal. The thing we didn't do is raise this money separate from anything else in our budget this year. We have a fund balance that, if it can be properly utilized, that money has been raised by taxation. That is taxpayer money in the fund balance. We have a healthy fund balance. So I'm going to get clarification from Natalie on
get it
that.
from Natalie, and then we'll move on from
Yep.
that.
And that's the only main change in here. Doug did advise that the Bennett Hill housing is going to go away, and he wants that check to be just made out to him and not Bennett Hill housing. And this closing is scheduled to, is requested to happen by December 31st.
Okay, well, that shouldn't be a problem based on what we've got here.
I agree.
All right, anything else? Discuss vote to approve the minutes of the November 10th meeting.
So moved.
Been moved, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Pending decisions, we're gonna move the town report dedication into old business, or actually, we probably can put that into pending decisions. I think your week's action list really is, to clarify with Natalie on the deed. Agenda items that you'd like to see in 2 weeks. Anything?
Good at this point.
I have none.
Okay. Items needing signature, the minutes of the November 10th meeting, and the gaming application for the Fraternal Order of Eagles. That all being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, and good night, Irene.
You got for time there, Dennis?